Hey, everybody. Welcome to Window to Hollywood. Hello, Sarima. Hello,
Hi,
Eugene.
Joseph. Hi,
Hello, hello.
Eugene.
Yeah.
Arigato gozaimasu.
こちらこそありがとうございます。
Straight away, I was like, thank you.
Thanks for doing this with us. So good to
Yeah.
see
I'm
you.
so happy. Thank you for doing this with me, even though we're in completely different days.
Isn't that amazing?
See, there's no such thing as tomorrow and yesterday. There's only
I've been trying to tell that to people all the time. There's just now. Like, let go of that whole location is an obstacle. It's not an obstacle.
Yeah, it isn't at all. It's just we are here now. I mean, thanks to
Yes.
technology, we are actually together at this very one moment. Wonderful.
Yes.
I'm getting
It's
all
so-
philosophical.
It's so cool. Hi, Sarima.
Hey. So this is strange because usually, okay, so be prepared, Joseph, Eugene. Usually in class, I take turns, but I'm not one usually to take turns in real life. It's the Irish blood. So I might talk and keep talking. So
You
you'll
should
have to-
keep talking.
Sure.
First of all, Sarima, for those that don't know, please tell everybody where you're located, where you
Okay.
where you live, and what you do there. And then I have some fun questions to ask you. But please give us a sort of geolocation and
in
Yeah.
your mind. Well, I am Sarima Ibrahim. I am an Irish Malaysian actress and TV host. I've been an actress and TV host for 25 years now in Malaysia and regionally Malaysia, Singapore, and Brunei. Yet to go to Japan, although that is on my radar. Watch out, Eugene. I was first known in Malaysia as the first female Disney Channel host, and that was quite a huge thing, yeah. And I also have multiple awards, such as the Malaysian Emmy equivalent of Best Breakthrough Artist for my recording career. So on top of several other things, like being nominated for Best Supporting Actress in a film, but basically I'm just me, and I live in KL and London and Dublin. Yeah,
so
that's who I
cool.
am.
Wow.
Yes.
The first Disney host from Malaysia. That's interesting.
That's right. And also the first host for The Biggest Loser Asia, which was a hit show in the US, I believe, and the
That's
UK
right.
and worldwide. Yeah. The weight loss, super duper extreme weight loss show. So I had to do that for I say I had to because it was quite difficult for me and the contestants, as you can imagine. So, but it was a wonderful experience, and that was on the Hallmark Channel. Yeah.
Cool.
Wow.
Yes.
You've done so much.
Oh,
I've done so
big
much,
time.
and yet I'm only 22. What can one do?
That's awesome.
You know, they hired me as a child. No.
What would be really fun, as much as you want to, is to talk a little bit about the journey, any aspect of the journey of transitioning from the entertainment industry in Malaysia to, the work that you want to do, whether it's in Hollywood or anywhere else. Like, what are the highlights of that journey? What are the challenges? Yeah.
Very much. Okay, so firstly, I'm just so happy that we're having this conversation because I've never been able to have like a proper one-to-one with yourself, Joseph, and Eugene, except for in the training we do separately, Joseph. And I came upon you, Joseph. Honestly, I'll tell you, because I've been an actress and as a TV host here for 20 years, but the medium that we use is predominantly in Bahasa. Now, I speak Bahasa by chance, and I say thanks to my parents for that because they put me in a local school when I was growing up. I was born in Ireland, but we moved to Malaysia, where my father's from, when I was 5. And my Irish mom followed my dad here. And we really immersed ourselves straight into the culture of Malaysians. When I say that, I mean completely different language. Obviously, my mom converted, so we had to learn the cultures, the religious traditions, etc. And my mom, loving my dad and being so young, 21, 22, 23 years of age, just threw herself into it. So you had an Irish lady from Kilkenny, famous for its beer, coming over to Malaysia with like bright blonde hair, marrying a Muslim Malaysian and, immersing herself deeply into that culture. But what it did to myself and my siblings, I've got 3 younger brothers, is it really gave us a different perspective on life and My grandmother on my dad's side, for example, bless her soul, lived in a house made of wood, for example, and the toilet was outside, and it was very much you could use the word primitive, but I would just use the word simple, a different type of life. Do you know what I mean?
Sure.
And I grew up in local schools. We traveled back to Ireland yearly, where it was completely different life there because Granny in Ireland's a Catholic and she had her holy water. And she'd be like, well, I'm dragging you to church because it's the same God anyway, for God's sakes. Like, you know? So it was like, we're Muslim and we're also going here. But do you know what I mean? So everybody had a sense of acceptance. And it was beautiful because, and that's in the 80s. Do you know what I mean? As young as I am, but yeah, so that's in the 80s, and that acceptance has always been there. I think people like innately can accept differences. It's just the concept and ideas that probably pollute their mindset about that acceptance, but that's a completely different subject. So I was always in the arts since younger, since I was a child, and then we moved around the world, but I remained very much grounded, and I knew that I was going to be a performer from the age of 6. I was on stage telling stories in Bahasa, telling stories like Snow White and Cinderella to local children who were like, why is she talking about some white chick who's in the forest with 7 dudes? This is disturbing, you know? But I did it nonetheless. And then I moved back to Ireland to further my studies and do my college there, etc., and boarding school. But you know, I knew I was always going to be an entertainer. I just didn't know where I was going to do it. You know what I mean? Because when you're when you're mixed race, like, you know, Eugene, you know what I'm talking about here,
Yes.
probably more personally. It's really a split where your subconscious mind is almost going, but you belong to this type of people, and then your subconscious mind is also going, but you also belong to this type of people, be it religion or culture. And there's a massive clash between both because both cultures have different ways of looking at the self even. So that affects you as a performer, because in Asia, there's a sense of like being thankful for the work that you're given and being very, humble. So you go onto set almost feeling like, I don't deserve to be here. And yet, you know, when you're in the Western world and you know, you go to set, you own that set, you own that moment, right? So there's even that at its essence is very contrasting. But I decided when I came back after studying in Ireland that I was going to come to Malaysia and be a psychiatrist, in a nutshell. And my dad said, well, if you want to do that and be a performer, you're going to have to do multiple jobs and I'm not going to pay for you to become a celebrity. You make your own money. So my journey into becoming well known and becoming a household name in Malaysia started with me being a waitress and doing 3 jobs at the same time. A waitress in 3 different restaurants while studying. And I got lucky because a talent agent, her child was sick one day, and this was in 1998. And I helped her with her sick child in the restaurant. And she said, yay, thanks very much. You know, I brought her to the toilet, a little girl, and, you know, she really was unwell. And she said, you know, you look like you could do commercials. And I was like, at the time, I think I was 19. And I went for my first audition. And the next thing you know, I was the face of Clairol Herbal Essences shampoo. Then I was the face of like Lexmark printers in Malaysia and Singapore. Then I was the first Ribena girl. And then I was the first Disney Channel host. And then I starred in like 5 Malay films. So I used to go to the cinema with my dad when he'd come on holiday, and we'd watch myself, and I'd be like, well, there you go then. I obviously made some extra money, and it's been good, thank God. And I also completed my studies in psychology. Didn't become a psychiatrist. So.
Wow.
Yeah.
Holy cow.
Yeah. So.
What was that like, by the way? I mean, another question I wanted to ask, what was that like as a girl going to showing that to your dad? I mean, how did it feel? What were, in our work together, I've been fortunate enough to have worked with you for some time, in acting in class and coaching, and it's like we prioritize fun. If something isn't fun, it isn't working. Was it fun for you? Like, were you excited by it? Like, how did you feel? What were the sensations you had as you showed it to your dad, for instance?
It was quite terrifying initially because he's obviously an Asian man, and he's very academic, and he came from being the eldest of 9 children and like studying without electricity and becoming the best, smartest guy in his village and being sent for a full scholarship to Ireland. So no pressure. So saying, Dad, here's a tape of me doing shampoo commercials. This is kind of a big deal, even though you might not think so. Surprisingly, my dad was like, maybe no surprise. He goes, brilliant. You keep doing it. You can go back to your studies. Save money first. So the typical Asian way, save money first. Later, you can go back and study. Okay. So I was like, okay, this is cool. And then my dad's a singer and a drummer and a guitarist anyway. So, and my mom plays violin and sings. So it's kind of no surprise. And
Wow.
it was a bit scary, and I had to do a lot of don't shame the family was a very big, kind of like an Italian family. Don't put any shame on the family. Be careful what you do, have dignity. That was pretty much the predominant message. And I think that's a universal thing, regardless of religion and cultures. Keep your dignity and don't bring any shame to yourself and the family. And so that stayed with me for years till now. And whenever, I had situations at work where I'd probably have to compromise, dress a little bit, revealing or something, I would stop and I would say, I could hear my dad and my grandmother in the village going, don't shame the family, don't shame the family, don't shame yourself, keep your dignity. And I was like, nah, I think I'll wear this instead. And it worked somehow, so it's just about being yourself and standing true to your, what for yourself. And it's not easy because some people say, I'll give you season 2 if you go on holiday with such and such. And I'm going, nah, it's okay. I'm not going on holiday. You can keep it. It's okay. I'll find something else. Something else will come to me.
Sure, absolutely.
Right. Wow.
And so it did. And it wasn't easy because we live, obviously, this is a Muslim country with very strong embedded cultures. And then you've got me, and I'm like this outspoken, but somehow Eugene and Joseph, and everyone watching, it really surprisingly worked because they needed something different. And that brings me to why I brought you up, Joseph, because when we first did our classes together, you were like, don't be afraid to bring something different because people don't even know what they want, right?
Absolutely.
So when I first entered into this industry, I brought something completely different, which I very much an off script, let's go one take live. Even in the films that I've acted in, people would say, oh no, you can't be an undercover prostitute who's fighting the mafia, it's not going to be accepted. And I was like, watch me, let's do this. And I would just do things that were very out of the box. And, people accepted it because they know life is like that. So there's no point in denying what life is, but I didn't present it in a disrespectful manner. When I played the undercover police playing a prostitute, I still did it with an element which I knew the culture needed, which was a slight tinge of comedy so that they would feel safer about what I was doing. So it was always about adjusting. You can make those dangerous choices, but depending on the culture that you are in, still respecting them and finding something within that culture that you can bring to your art that will allow them to accept it. And that's what I've always done as a presenter, TV host, giving them something that they go, whoa, did she just say that? And then say, yeah, but, and then they go, oh, okay.
Yeah.
No, that totally makes sense, because of your upbringing and being the odd one in a way, like with mixed blood and stuff. I mean, that's the same with me in Japan, but it's that, in Japan, it's maybe even worse. It's like,
yeah, I can imagine.
It's like, oh, he's not, his head shape is different. Or
his head shape,
he talks different. And it's just like you're out of the box. And then when you come with something new or original or something, then once it gets through to them, then they finally let you in.
Yes. Yeah, but you've got to package it. It's about understanding yourself and understanding who you really are and what you have to offer and believing in that first. Because whenever I go on stage, I know I've hosted like massive like regional shows. Sometimes I've done live shows to like 5 million people without script sometimes. I mean, these situations arise, you know what I mean? And it's just about going, okay, this is who I am. They know me. I'm going to do it my way. And then if I feel, it's all about feeling, isn't it? It's the feelers out there. And if I feel that they're a little bit uncomfortable or the laughter is a little, you can just hear it. then you give them back a little safety net as something familiar to them, you know? And that is a constant skill that takes many, many years of
Yeah.
trial and error, you know?
And that
But yeah,
safety aspect is very important. And I think
oh
a
yeah,
lot of cultures, right? Like in all these different, if they feel really insecure watching, then they start attacking.
exactly,
You know?
exactly.
It's-
Or even worse, they just ignore you, which
Yeah.
is even more terrifying because they don't want to see something that's threatening. So in the characters that I've played and the presenting that I've done, I've always kept a sense of, you know, yes, I'm an Irish born presenter, but I speak your language and I went to your schools. So I'll bring it back to that so that they understand I haven't lost my roots in that sense. And I think as a performer, you know, we have many ideas of who we want to be like, and we forget who we are. And I'm sure there are some people out there who would like to be us, and we're not aware of it. So, you know, if we don't revel in who we are ourselves, then it's just a waste of a life and of a being.
That's beautiful.
Yeah, wow.
Oh my God, yes.
Sarima, with everything that you have going on, how do you balance the acting from the hosting and singing and all the other things you do? And are there any particular projects that have held a special place in your heart along the way, you know, in balancing it all?
Well, you know, with classes with yourself now and fitting time in with you, which I'm so happy to do, you know, I love it. I mean, this year I decided to dedicate to, you know, upping my skills, and my goal is to go international. And that requires very much trying to balance things. You know what I mean? Family time is family time, and I know my cutoffs every day, and that's them, you know. And my little daughter is like, "Mommy, you know, you're ignoring me," or "Mommy, you don't look like you," and I have a bit too much makeup on. And I go, "Okay, that's it." You know, I give her that time, because if I don't have a life, I have nothing to pull from to bring to art, right? As we know, there's nothing there. There's just a concept and an idea of who I should be then if I'm not living me. So I balance it with time for them. I done Pilates, I do martial arts, and I'm recording some reels at the moment that are universally acceptable, either in English, so that I can send them and you know, present them worldwide. I'm booking travel, etc., to go and meet agents. I plan to be in the UK end of the year, and hopefully come over to the US next year.
Yeah.
Because I feel like I've done so much in Malaysia, and one of the standout projects would probably be The Biggest Loser Asia, because it allowed me to work with an international production, and to meet people from the region, from the Philippines, from India, from Hong Kong, and that was such an eye-opening taster for me to say, whoa, okay, this is just here. And, you know, walking down the streets in the Philippines, and they knew me. But also I was confused. Maybe it wasn't me. Maybe I just looked like I could be basically half anything, right? You know what I mean? I could be half anything. So a lot of people would say, but you look like the celebrity in our country who's also half Irish. And I was like, I'll take that. So, you know, I mean, you know, it's fine.
That's
And
a
I was like,
superpower. That
it is,
relatability
exactly.
is a superpower.
You know, I mean, just think of any nationality right now, both of you, and just mix it with Irish, and look at me. Do you know what I mean?
Seriously.
So I could
yes.
be Eugene's sister, for God's sake. You know? So that was one of the standouts, because it allowed me the regional exposure. And balancing time at the moment is really between classes, work that I'm doing, and I'm also a mental health advocate. I'm fighting to change the perspective, and we just got a delegalization of attempted suicide here in Malaysia, which is a massive thing, because there's always been a law here that if you attempted suicide due to mental health problems, you would go to jail. And myself and a lot of mental health advocates have been fighting for that to be changed and revoked, and it's no longer the law. So it's a big deal.
Wow.
Oh,
Congratulations.
congratulations.
That's huge.
That's
When
huge.
You know what I mean?
When was that enacted, Sarima?
That was last year. So basically, they had the rule, just like many cultures do, even in the
Mhm.
West, as a preventative measure. But they realized that that was, there was a backlash, and it worked against
Mhm.
everyone.
Sure.
Because then people go, well, I'm going to do it, and I'm going to make sure it works, right? So if you make it that it's not illegal, then people will probably, unfortunately, still not go the whole way with it. Hopefully, please God. So
That's
we're hoping to
amazing.
make changes here, because if you don't change and improve the mental health of a society, I believe anyway, in any work I do, then you don't have a healthy country at the end of the day. You can have the
Wow.
tallest
That's
buildings, you can
huge.
be known to be the best country in the world with the best economical whatever, and if your people are sick and not well, you have nothing.
Yeah.
What differences do you notice between the entertainment industry that you've been a part of and Hollywood? Your interaction, it doesn't even have to be with Hollywood, with other, whether it's UK or how are these and how have these differences impact your work and your thinking about your career, if it does?
Okay, so I'm at a point right now where I have done as much local stuff that anybody could possibly do. And I think the Irish side of me, to be very frank and honest about it, it is what it is, has gone, it's my turn now.
Mm.
you know and that
Cool.
side of me is going, let's go make an impact in other places. It's my time to use the English language, for example,
Mm.
something as basic as that. I mean, I'm fluent in both languages, but I've used Bahasa predominantly for this region, Singapore and Brunei. The other side of me as a human being is going, but there's more, and there's a story, and there's the background, and we need to bring that forth. But the differences I see, okay, the biggest difference that I could see is in terms of the skills, because in Asia it is much more organic. The skills are seen as, innate, more innate rather than learned. So when actors come on set here, sometimes you see no process to what they do, if you get where I'm going here. So it's like you don't even see the process of casting. It's like the directors never had unspoken silent castings and unspoken silent rehearsals. And then it's just presented like most of the culture, which is unspoken. You see what I mean? So
Yeah.
it's very much not aggressive in how they approach things, scripts, interpretation, because voices are not heard as openly. So that culture affects the process as an artist, as an actor. You don't say something if you're not allowed to, and you might not be as free to question the director's direction. So when I do classes with yourself, Joseph, or I do classes with Jerry Grenell, which I'm doing, he's the director of the Bow Street Academy, and he's trained actors like Heath Ledger and Natalie Portman. He and yourself, for example, coming from the West, have a very different perspective of, well, if the director's not listening, then, screw him. You do it your way. You do
Sure.
it your way, for God's sakes. How are you going to bring something new to someone if they're telling you how to do it their way, right?
That's right.
But the problem is, you do it your way here, and you're walking out your door. Do you know what I mean?
Mm-hmm.
So there is a very fine line here. And then you've got to find the method. And this is what I mean by you've got to give them something safe. Eugene, you know what I
Yeah.
mean, right? So you go, okay, I hear you. And then you still do it your way anyway.
Yes.
And then you give them credit for it. You go, oh my goodness,
That's
what
the
you
key.
said to me made me do this.
Yes.
And then they go, oh, you see, it's done. It's amazing. So it's just about tweaking within the culture that you're given. You find out what makes this culture, what makes them, what they like, what they don't like, and then you just go with that. And so it's a little bit extra effort, to answer your question, Joseph. There's a lot of tweaking and understanding the subtext within the shooting environment. And I think it makes you a master of understanding subtext when it comes to the art. So that's why I love these intense roles, because every week I come in and I'm like, Joseph, let's do this. And it's like crying again. There's so much deep. Why do I keep choosing deep things? Well, I keep choosing deep things because I live in that environment where there's a lot of subtext and interpreting it and trying to bring that out.
Yes. It doesn't come
Yeah.
from a place of just trying to be contrary or just standing out for
No.
standing out. It comes from
Not
a
at
place
all.
that you cannot please and create at the same time. And I think it's
Exactly.
beautiful the way that you described it. And Eugene, we've talked about this.
Mhm.
How is that similar to, you know, what happens in Japan? That seems
Japan's similar in so many
Yeah.
ways. And, you know, it's how to. I mean, the whole culture is about fitting in. So when you stick out, they'll nail you down. You know, and so it kind of is. And at the same time, I personally think we are all in a learning process. Like Japan is, like the directors haven't trained, or you know, the actors have not really trained. They're just working, and it's like the whole system is more about letting the people. Like the TV was the main format for Japan, so it'd be like everything is free. So the people at home it should be easily understood what we're doing. So it's a lot of the acting is very explanatory
Yes.
stuff. So when there's like realism, it's like you know, you can't give them a choice. You can't give the audience a choice. No, it has to be, are you scared? You know, are you angry or whatever? So in many ways, that's kind of still there. It's starting to change bit by bit. The whole system is now changing. But I mean, in many ways, I think it's similar to Malaysia and the culture
Yes.
and to fit in and to make them feel safe I think is a key key phrase.
Yes.
I think for
Yes.
Asian countries, because if they don't feel
Yes.
safe, they will attack. You know, mostly if you're different or if you're mixed. I mean, I think like even in Japan, I don't think anybody that's mixed has been a lead in a TV series.
Exactly. And that's funny because the difference there, though, is in Malaysia, a lot of leads are mixed because they aspire towards something different. And that's the beauty of being here. You know, it's very funny, not funny like literally, but a lot of Malaysian films, for example, have gone very far internationally. Like Tiger Stripes was first place at Cannes. They have another film right now that just played in New York called Walid, which is like Kill Bill in a traditional outfit. I'm telling you, we watched it last night. But when they bring it back here, it's really a matter of the locals going, not feeling really safe about that. But a lot of leads here are mixed. That's a big difference. That's fine.
That is.
Isn't it? That's interesting.
Yeah.
A lot of leads here are mixed, and I think that's because of the cultural differences also between Japan and Malaysia. There's a difference in rigidity, not in a negative sense, that in Japan it's all about having a certain method to things and it's A to Z this way. But in Malaysia, we're a bit of a scrambled bunch because a lot of us are mixed already. The Indian, Chinese, and Malay people have integrated and become various types of colors and races and religions. And there's even several Chinese languages within Malaysia and several Bahasa languages in Malaysia. So mixing here is not a problem. But again, the word is safety. But you know what, Joseph, Eugene, isn't that kind of what the whole world is about? I mean, if you think about it, I mean, we do lean towards the familiar.
Yeah.
And what is the familiar? It is safety. And even a main star, whether it's the A-lister, why do we want to see them? They make us feel familiarity. Yeah. You know, so it might not be as blatantly obvious as what's happening in Asia, but there is still an underlying sense of safety as to why we do something or choose that cinema or choose that popcorn or choose, do you know what I mean? There's still, if we break it down, there's still some sort of...
Yes. In a way, a song is like that too, don't you think? Like if it starts with the C and if it ends somewhere else, it's like, whoa!
Whoa!
Back. But when you come back to the C, you feel safe.
Yeah.
It's like, okay, we can.
Yeah. Yeah, Celine Dion is so safe. Do you know what I mean? For so many cultures, people, Bryson is so safe. Do you know what I mean?
Yes.
You know, you throw in Post Malone and people here are like,
Are they listening though?
You know, they are, but they're kind of
Cool.
like, is he okay?
Mm.
Yeah.
There's a former editor of Vogue, and her name is Diana Vreeland, and there was a beautiful documentary on her life, and she discovered people like Barbra Streisand and Angelica Houston, non-traditional, non-safe models and performers. And she said something beautiful. She said, I wanted to show people what they didn't know they wanted yet. And I love that. Didn't know they wanted yet. I thought that was really beautiful to sort of,
ruffle the feathers of safe a little bit.
And it's true, because we didn't know we wanted our partners or anything we have in life or the love that we feel towards someone until it hits us, right?
That's it.
You cannot verbalize the things that you don't know exist until they're there. And then you can describe them. Even then, it's quite poorly, you know?
Wow, that is so cool, because it reminds me of what we do, Sarima, in our work. We verbalize things that are right. I mean, yeah.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Yes. And that's why I enjoy it so much. And the training that I do here locally is done in the language of the country, of course. So for me to be able to speak in English and to do my training in English is a big deal, because it allows me to see the possibility of going international and getting my agent and locking that in. And I'm really excited to see where it goes. There's always a sense of you can be a big fish in a small pond and be happy there. Do you know what I mean?
Yes.
And I don't mean that in like a cocky sort of, like I'm the big fish here. There's so many celebrities here and who are talented people who are much bigger than me. But I am me, and I can only offer, and I'm happy to offer only me and see where that goes. Because we only have right now, right? We only have this moment. Yeah. And, I just believe that if we don't do it and we don't give it a shot, a lot of people have been very inspired by Michelle Yeoh's success, obviously, and people like Henry Golding. And, I worked with Henry before many, many years ago when he was a budding new TV host. I've met Michelle Yeoh, and to see their success is just inspiring, and I don't see why I shouldn't try.
Yeah, no, I think it's the perfect time. I think it's the perfect time for people from Asia to come to the US and to Europe and stuff. And I think it's finally gotten to that place, I think. It's finally, because up to now it was never like that.
No, it wasn't. And that was so sad.
Yeah, and now it's the time, I think. So
yeah. And you see, America, the American Asians have also a very different perspective and they bring a different thing to the table than, say, for example, an English-speaking Asian from another country. So I think it will make it even more colorful because, differences in religion and culture. Otherwise, you might end up, it's beautiful. Diversity is, come on, diversity, right, Eugene? But what we also need within diversity is not just one model of diversity. Do you know what I mean? We can't just say, okay, there's our diversity and that's it. You've got to be a bit more brave and add in slightly different ingredients and say, okay, now that is really diversity. Do you get what I mean? Like, not one type of diversity. Why don't we try various types of diversity? Do you know what I mean? So why not have a Muslim Chinese person do the role?
Yeah.
For example, they're going to bring a completely different thing as well. Everybody brings something different. So I'm so happy to see diversity across the globe. It's just that I feel we also now is the time to be really brave. If we say we're brave and go like full stream with diversity, because if you don't, then you're just stuck in a type of diversity. These types of looking people with the same accent. Why don't we go like these types of people or plus this type of accent plus this religion and let's put them on. Let's see how it goes.
On topic conversation for this channel I feel like we've had, and it's like opening up It's really expanding.
And it's so important, and a lot of people don't know this. I
Yeah.
mean, and it's a lot, like, or like producers in the US or this or that, some people will have no idea about things like that.
Absolutely.
You
Somebody, I got an email the other day from a potential agent, for example, and the person said to me, "Oh, we have a lot of artists that are kind of like you, and we're so happy if you'd like to." And I was like, "Kind of like me?" I was like, their mother's from Kilkenny, one of 9 children with Sicilian blood, and their father's from a rubber tapping family in Malaysia, and they grew up in 6 countries, and was bullied in school, did karate, does Pilates, and has a daughter. Kind of like me.
What
Who
would
prays, in Arabic with an Irish twang. Kind of like me. I don't think so, honey.
I was gonna say, what would you have liked to say to them? It's like in our work, but I feel like you're
Oh
saying,
no, there's that hand, Joseph. When that hand comes out, I know it's on. Let's go. That hand comes out. What would you have liked to have said to them? I would have liked to have said that exactly. Kind of like me. Are you sure about that? Let's break this diversity thing down.
Perfect.
Yes.
Do you know what I mean? Let's break it down, because people are stopping just at the word.
Yes,
Have you noticed? There's a lot of discussion of diversity, but no one's breaking it. It's not just the word. It is an entire existence. You know what I mean? And I'm just so happy. Thank God we've gotten to that at least. 'Cause
Yes,
like you said, Eugenia, we know the roles were predominantly white people. Let's go. Right? And that was it for years, for decades. And now we've got the box of diversity.
Yeah.
But within diversity, we have worlds.
Yep.
So, let's go deep in there and let's explore the worlds of people within diversity so that we can experience fully what diversity means. It is not just this color people with the same accent.
I want a lot of people to hear what's being said right now.
Yeah, me too.
Yeah.
And I love the conversation about bravery. There's a member of our community, Eugene Simon, who is on Game of Thrones, and he always says, this journey doesn't get easier, you just get braver. And I love that. It's a bravery thing. What do you think about that, Sarima?
It is. Doing this interview, I have to be fully committed to what I am saying and doing. We all have to, right? Let's be honest. Let's bring it down to this. People will see this. People within my community, my culture, my religion, your culture, your religions, your environment, your country, my country. And some people are going to go, that was a bit, harsh. Or, are you sure? She doesn't know what she's talking about. Or maybe she shouldn't have said that. But you know what? Someone had to say what I just said. Everyone has a right to bring their knowledge and their self to the existing world. Otherwise, like I said earlier in the conversation, it's gone. I mean, can you imagine if people like Philip Seymour Hoffman, or Joaquin Phoenix said, "Oh, I better not jump and dance on the steps playing the Joker. It would look so weird." Or, there's just, for example, if Meryl Streep decided to not be, to have those eyes and that face. If these people, and I can say the same for many celebrities here locally who do things their way and worldwide, if they didn't do that, we wouldn't know them.
Yes.
We wouldn't be inspired by them, right?
Yes. Now you're speaking my love language with these actors.
And I always refer to this as dangerous acting. You're not hurting somebody. The goal is not to hurt somebody, but it's to take their breath away. It's to change flip the paradigm. It's to come at it, as Einstein said, solve a problem from another level of consciousness. And the actors that you mention are front and center with me all the time. Yes, and yes.
And in the roles that, I choose to do and hopefully will do, I hope to, regardless of what genre they are, I just want to be a representation of the diversity that is and should be allowed, so to speak, to shine and offer back as well. Because we all have a story and a history that has millions and millions of elements of knowledge and experience that can help even one person who's watching. You don't know. The one thing you do with your eye, the one thing you say could just inspire someone or have somebody go, that's it, I'm done, I'm going to go try this. You don't know. And you have to do it. If you're talking about breaking transgenerational things within a family, we're trying to break transgenerational and bring diversity to the concept of performance worldwide. That's massive. And it's not going to be easy, but you have to be brave to do it, right?
Yes.
Otherwise, it just stays the same and the same goes on and on.
Exactly.
Amen.
This leads right into another question that we had, which is, as you who have achieved such amazing success in singing and in acting and hosting, what are your criteria for the projects, Sarima, that you take on next? How do you decide?
What is that barometer?
Totally honest.
Sure.
Of course, it's going to be totally honest. At this point, I look at where is this going to be presented to? Okay, firstly. So I do take local projects on still. Like I'm going to be in 2 weeks. There's going to be a TV series that's released, and I'm playing a very different role type to anything I've ever done 20 years, which is I'm actually a lawyer in it, fighting for women's rights and justice, and that's something very different. So the audience is about to see that, and I'm hoping that will allow them to see a different side of me. So
Sounds
that's
like something we just worked on.
Yeah, exactly. Exactly. And that's why we did that scene with Erin, etc.
Yeah.
But the criteria is who's going to see it, because obviously I'm looking wider, regionally or internationally. I will look at that first. And then I think it definitely comes down to when I look at the script and I read it, I go, aha, there is a being within me that can bring this to life. Because we're not just the being. We are many, many of us within now. I mean, all of our ages are still living in our body. So there is a being within me that can say these words and bring this to life. Do you know what I mean?
I know what you mean, and it's beautiful. It sort of challenges the traditional concept of time. It's sort of
all things can exist in all times and places. Very quickly, I remember my daughter was devastated that she was turning 5 and that she wouldn't be 4 anymore. And I remember it's something that just came to me in the moment. I said, 4 is still going to be with you, just growing into 5. You'll always have 4, right? Right, you guys? Yeah.
4 has gone into the bag, and we're all carrying the bag, and then the bag just gets bigger, and we all carry baggage.
It's beautiful.
Do you know what I mean? So, and like, for example, when we do scenes, like we did Erin Brockovich just as a scene, and then we did it as part of a reel, right, Joseph? I can tell you straight up now, and I didn't tell you on the day, but that was 14-year-old me. That was not me. You get what I mean, right? You know what I'm saying. I'm sure everyone watching gets it too. 14-year-old me needed to say that in her way. And that's probably why it came out the way it did.
Which one was Isis? This is all like, no one's going to know what this means, but it's so interesting. We can talk about this another time, but that's so cool.
We did a scene practice, Eugene, where essentially to for some reason in the process of coming into playing the scene, I did various animals. Like I was a horse, for example, and not just any horse, a beautiful brown horse with shiny mane who was observing somebody through a window. So when you ask me who was that horse, I think that horse was 20-something me who was looking out and feeling insecure and wanting to be part of something bigger in life. It's yeah. So that's what I mean. So I look at something and I go, which part of me wants to say this? I don't go, oh, I can say this and I can do this and I can bring this. I go, which part of me can do this? Because we are all sums and parts of our life experiences. And we like to think we are the age we're in right now, but a lot of us are stuck in various ages and that those ages want to be heard.
When thinking of it that way, the other Disney project I did several weeks ago, I was much younger.
There you go.
Do I know
That
that
was
one?
about, I think
Brilliant.
about 24 me. 24.
Oh, that's lovely. What are you talking about? You still look 24. So
Yeah.
you weren't bringing anything. You were just being you. Tell the truth.
Did we worked on Eugene? I know that one, right? Is that the burger one?
Yeah, the one in the
Oh,
and I'm like yelling and whatever.
Yes.
oh.
It
See?
made our-
So,
Yeah.
you know. And when that hand comes out, Joseph, I'm wondering how old are you with that hand of yours? No, not this one. This one. When you go,
I think 18.
go into
Oh
it.
my God.
Yeah,
Younger.
come on.
Let's go.
I am like egging you on. I am. It is a hand.
Who are you?
Egging you
How
on to
old are
bravery.
you? What does that hand want to say?
It's like 6 or 7. It's like, do it,
Oh,
do
I
it,
believe
do it.
that. You do it. Come on, do it now. Yes.
Yeah.
So it really is that, and a lot of us shut away part of ourselves and try to be an idea of a character and an idea of what we're going to bring to the project, right? So can we stop adulting so much sometimes and just allow ourselves to come through? That's something that I aspire to do here onwards, because I think it's about time.
I'm actually like that now. I don't go with an image at all. Just
Lovely.
go. So,
Yeah.
That's so nice.
Philip Seymour Hoffman talked about that as well too. I mean,
One of my favorite questions in acting is like, if it were me, you don't becoming another person by putting on a lot of makeup. It's under what conditions would make it possible. There's the hand again. Under what conditions would make it possible?
Yeah.
if it were me, how would it feel? But it's you. Don't think of you as everything that's happening in this time. It's you. It is the expanded out infinite version of yourself that includes all aspects of your past, present, and future in a way. If it were
That's
me.
right.
Philip Seymour Hoffman was very famous, had an interview in Movie Maker magazine some years ago where he was asked, well, how much could you relate and identify? How much of you could you relate and identify? And he looked at them like, I guess you're not an actor. He said, I could relate or partly relate to everything I played. And in fact, the roles that I'm most known for, he said, I didn't do anything after the work was planted. We live off the interest of great work. You don't go acting the work. He said, there were roles where I didn't do anything when I got on set. I left myself alone, trusting that I was living off the
Yes.
interest of it, but he didn't do anything to himself.
Yes,
Right?
and I love that word, living off the interest. And actually, you can apply that to your life generally. I mean, we live off the
Right.
interest of our mistakes and our successes. We live off the interest of what we have observed about ourselves on a day-to-day basis. You don't do the same thing because you know what happened when you've done that. And so we live off the interest of our being every second of the day. I mean, if we're conscious, obviously. So, you know what I mean? You know?
Sure. Yeah.
If we're not altering our consciousness, then we are living off the interest of our own being.
We are traversing uncharted interstellar. My questions some of them are in the dust. Like, this is
That's
great.
fun.
This is great.
We're living off the interest of this conversation.
Oh, it's so
Awesome.
beautiful.
This is
And other
awesome.
people will, and I will be. I mean, I can't wait to go back in and just savor what's being said. This
I'm
is
booking
so
a flight right
inspiring.
now, right? Just letting you know on the side, I'm coming over so we can continue this over
Do
coffee.
it. Let's do it. Let's do it.
I will.
What-
I will get that.
What do you? Okay, so
One's journey involves not just hard work and dedication. There's a lot going on. What advice would you give to aspiring actors, singers who hope to follow a similar path? Like, what advice would you give to them, or do you give to them, Sarima?
Oh my goodness. It's hard to give advice only because we are where we are due to the interest of the mistakes that we made. Do you get what I mean? So if we don't make mistakes and we just follow a path and rules, we're not going to get to the successes that we could get to. So a big misunderstanding, I think, for people who are starting off in any form of the entertainment industry, wherever in the world, is there will be no mistakes. I shall not fail, and I will not mess up, and I will not forget my lines, and I will not have an accident or get sick halfway or have a divorce. And I'm sorry, but that is, you are packing experience to move on with your bag to the next life experience. And without that experience, you don't have much to bring. So I often say to people here when I do a lot of mental health work, I say, embrace the heartbreak, as horrible as it is. When you're going through the next breakup or sickness, just remember my words. You're not alone. There's a few million people going through the same thing, and this is going to make you more interesting. Don't worry about it. It's going to make you more interesting to you, because the worst thing that I ever wanted to be was boring. Do you know what I mean? And the formula to be
So
boring is controlling and trying to pass out every second of your day, every second of this interview, to try and plan it to be a way that you think it should be, and then it just becomes, it can't be, you know? And then you have nothing to present and give. So the advice I would say is just live through everything you're going to live through. Don't be afraid of mistakes, because forgetting on set, getting rejected, having those breakups, having those sicknesses, God forbid, I wish you the best. We've all been there. Losing the people you love, losing the projects that you were dying for, praying for, embrace it. Put it in your bag. Get on with it. Buy a new bag if you need to, and carry it forward, because that is what makes you interesting.
That's the best advice.
You are so inspiring. It's
Wow.
it's so cool.
I mean, if you could see the bag on my back right now, like, it is so huge. And that's fine. We all have bags, right? And like, I've got things in there that are being packed in there in between, like every single age. And I love it now. Now I can pick from that time that, I had a family member who had cancer. Thank God is well now. But if I didn't have that in my bag to pull from, that depression and helplessness that I felt, in that depth of despair, of loss and loving that person, if I couldn't pull from that and bring that today to a scene that may require that, according to our interpretation, where am I going to pull from? Your idea of it, her idea of it. I got to pull from that pain, and I got to pull from things that I've been through and, that I've seen, to be able to bring it. And a lot of people are afraid of carrying it, and they go, no, positive vibes only. I'm like, you're going to carry a bag full of positive vibes. What are you doing? How are you ever going to sing a song about anything other than just being happy?
That's right.
Or you've got to have both.
Yes.
And we're afraid of that.
Freddie Mercury is famously quoted as saying, someone was asking about covering one of his songs, and he said, "Just don't be boring, darling. Just don't be boring."
Exactly. Just don't be anything but.
Yes.
And don't try to avoid the concept of boring, because boring could be a part of the baggage down here. Like, you sometimes just be boring, and then you bring that to a scene like that we did with Isis, and she could just be very boring, but that could be quite funny to see someone so boring when everyone else is trying to be something. So even boring can be part of you that you can use
if you embrace it.
Exactly.
That's right.
And not be afraid of it. So that's probably the only advice I give. And I try to give the youth that I work with, and, the people that come up to me who are in like their teens, and I want to be a superstar, I wanted to get into TV hosting, I want to do, and I go, it's then what pain are you going through? And don't run from it, because this is going to come in handy.
Yep.
I
always say, what are you holding back? That's what people want to see. What you're holding, holding back is that's all of you. Yeah.
Yeah. That is all of you. And it's only you, right, that has that bag. That bag is custom made. You just custom made that.
I'm thinking of custom made bags now. I think we need to have a we need to
what I mean?
Open
just bags store. And like a big logo that says, "This is my life. Unpack it as you wish." That
should be our first piece of merch. Serena. Yes. Yeah. Hey,
what's fun, like, in your free time when you're not working on projects? What do you things that you do for fun?
I'm getting back into martial arts now. So I just did some fight scene training the other day, because I want people to go, well, yeah, I mean, if I did that constantly, I'd probably get nowhere as the person killed me down below. But but it is, you know what? A lot of people look at martial arts and they see repetitive motion and they say, well, how's that going to work in a real fight, right? It's got nothing to do with the repetitive motion. It's about discipline and focus. That's all it is. So once you get so focused and honed in on your career, your work, your script, your hand movement, it just provides you with the ability to focus and be in the moment. So repetitiveness is not to practice that specific move. It's just to help you be in the moment. I spend a lot of time like advocating for like the various martial arts that are around, and that's not going to work in a real street fight. I'll just slap your face. And I'm like, yeah, but you might slap my face, but I'm so focused. As you finish slapping me, I can see something below you that I can go for. Do you know what I mean? So, you know, yeah. So, you know, I mean, for example, I'm not a violent person, you know, but yeah, I can be if I need to be. The Irish Sicilian part, you know. So basically at the moment I'm doing that. So I'm enjoying that because it's a part of me that people don't expect. There you go. What are you hiding? You know, so I just did it, and people are going, oh my God, you know, you're, you know, at this point in your life, you know, you're recording yourself sweaty and like you've got bruises, you know, you're not made up, you know, you're not afraid that people are going to like, clients are going to not drop you for sponsorship. And I go, no, I believe that the right clients and the right projects will come to that sweaty fighting me. You know,
and if that's sweaty fighting you, and if that's sweating,
could speak. What does it want to say?
What would she say?
Bring me a towel and let's do some more.
Yes. Wow, we're going right into
yes, exactly. It is
that connection. Yes,
it is. So yeah, that's what I'm doing, and you know, I just, you know, I'm embracing where I'm at this point, and I'm enjoying my daughter, and I'm embracing the possibilities that are coming towards me, whatever they may be, and that is something scary to do, because embracing, it's scary, but it's fun, right? Embracing the possibility that you do all this training and you do all this flying around and you talk to all these people, and at the end of the day, I'm going to be where I'm supposed to be, right? Mm-hmm. We all are. And the question is, am I going to be okay with that? I hope so.
Oh my gosh. Eugene, this is
awesome.
I am like getting goosebumps.
Listen, can you get any sneak peek into any upcoming projects or goals, any career goals, upcoming project, anything like that, if you can?
So what I'm going to do is, if people do follow my social media or anybody's interested, I do upload a lot of stuff on my Instagram, and I'm actively on X, Twitter X, whatever you want to call it, the black box now with the big massive slash sign.
When that black box comes up still, yeah.
I know. I'm like, what happened to the bird? Is it inside the bird? Is it inside the box?
Yeah.
The death bird, you know, I don't know. But so I do upload a lot of stuff there. So snippets of the work, I will be uploading it there. Obviously it's in Bahasa, and you know, once I'm done editing my show reel, I'm going to be uploading that, and then I'm going to come over, and then Eugene's going to cast me in something. Did you see that?
Sounds
Did you see
wonderful.
that right there?
I saw that.
Awesome.
We will make sure, Eugene, all of Sarima's links will be in the description as well too. We'll
Yes.
Obviously.
You know, you've got to do it. You've got to be committed to the risk.
Mm-hmm.
If you're not committed to the risk, you're committed to nothing, because everything in life is a risk.
Mm.
Boom. Mic drop.
Whatever it is.
Yes.
Marriage, stepping outside the front door, getting on a plane, everything is a risk. And if you're not committed to it, you're not doing anything. Nothing.
Sarima, thank you so much.
Was that too intense?
No, it was amazing.
This is awesome. This is awesome.
Yeah.
This is brilliant. Really.
It's kind of emotional for some reason suddenly, isn't it? I don't know. But
no, it got emotional for me a long time ago. Like I said, I've had, hair standing up and goosebumps. This is really a powerful conversation. Your words are so powerful. I'm just so excited for other people to hear it.
I can't wait for everybody to see this.
Me too.
I'm really, I can only, if we're not here tomorrow, all we have is what we give today, right? So, you give your best today and you commit to it and you pray to God and whatever you believe in. And even if you just believe in yourself, be committed to you and give what you can. You know what I mean? And what comes is what's best for you. And we struggle with that. It really is.
There's a friend of mine I grew up with who was one of my first drama teachers. Her name is Roz Clark, and she would always say, "What is for you will not go by you." I always loved that.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Exactly. It's only over when it's over. And, my mom and an Irish saying is, you'll have plenty of rest when you're dead.
Yeah.
Right?
That's great. That's great.
So until that happens,
Yeah.
commit to every single moment.
Yeah. What if we're
What?
surprised? What if we're surprised? What if we don't get that? You know what I mean? I don't know.
Yeah. Even that will surprise us. The end will surprise us. Do you know what I mean? We don't know what it is. Just like I don't know where this is going to go in the next 5 seconds. We don't even know where that's going to go. So, we like to think we're on top of everything, right? But no, just commit to every single risk. That's it.
Thank you.
Joseph's hand's gone back. The hand is back. What's happening?
I'm not going to be, I can't go to sleep after this. I'm going to be buzzing. I feel sort of confused because I almost feel like we're ready to go into a performance. I feel like we're now segueing into coaching because you are so lit up. I am so lit up. I see Eugene so lit up. And I know everybody watching this, that I see them lit up already.
Let's do it.
So it's yeah, let's do it. Just thank you. Thank you so much.
Thank you.
Lovely time.
Thank you. I mean, honestly, there's things that you've asked me today that I don't know. I didn't know you were going to ask. And you can't plan things, right? That's the risk. I committed to the risk. I came here. I've got my coffee here. I've got my lights. I've got my half-eaten omelet there. I'm looking at Eugene. I'm looking at Joseph. And I'm thinking, this is brilliant. I'm able to do this. I'm alive. I have my sight. I have a voice. I have so much that, just commit to this now.
I always ask you all, and we always ask it in the work, is how do you know something's working? Well, the first marker of it was it fun? And I can tell you from my perspective,
this is what fun feels like. This was so much fun. Did you have fun? Did you guys have fun?
Yes.
I had so much fun. Good. It's so funny. As you see, my hands, I always can tell from my hands, if my hands go cold, I know for a lot of people that's not a good sign, but for me, when my hands go cold, I know that I am ready to go. It is a fight or flight, let's get this going now. And then I'm like, I'm waiting for someone to go action, and I'm going.
I love the moments in our work together where it's oh my God, it's just everything, it clicks in, and it just it's an emotional surprise for you. And I know we're working in the right place when that happens, it's for me, that's how I know we're clicked in anyway.
To be continued in class.
Thank you.
Wow.
Yeah, thank you. And I hope to work with you, Eugene, in class as well, because we're in different timings. So
yes.
Oh yeah, this has been great. And I know it's late for you there, and it's this. I'm starting my day. I'm starting my day like this.
Well, I'm starting my day too now because of this conversation.
Sorry. But
Eugene, thank you so much.
Oh, thank you. Thank you very much.
Yeah,
Sarima, really
thank you so
much for your time.
Thank you so much. Really, really, genuinely, truly, terima kasih, which is what we say in Malaysia. Terima kasih and arigatou gozaimasu. It gave me the fire to continue to commit.
Yay.
And where do you feel that fire?
In my stomach right now, below my tongue.
I'm gonna be
No, this is never ending.
Send us out with the voice of the fire, and then I'll be aware of it.
If the fire could speak, what would the fire say?
Yes.
Get me more coffee. I need to calm it down.
Thank you so much.
Thank you so much.
Thank you so much.
Thank you.
Thank you all.
Thank you.
All right.
See you soon.
Yeah. See you so soon.
Awesome.
Bye, everybody.